Help me reach 7,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. Don't wait up. I might be late. She tossed over her shoulder the first Saturday. She started calling it me time. Noon to night, every time. Same perfume that doesn't belong in a gym, full makeup, a bag she never used for yoga. She killed the GPS history like it owed her money and somehow added miles to the odometer that didn't match the grocery run story. The first time, I shrugged it off. The second time, I started counting. By the fourth, I could predict the 4 to 7 p.m. silence with the accuracy of a train schedule. I didn't say anything that morning. I watched the front door shut and the little shake it always gave when she slammed it with confidence. I made coffee, checked a couple service tickets on my laptop from the shop, and told myself people are allowed to need air. But when a person needs air only on Saturdays, only between noon and midnight, and your texts sit unread during the exact same 3 hours, you start to wonder if oxygen is the point or just the alibi. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have taken a picture of that first smirk and framed it as a warning label. She came home closer to 11 that first week. I met her at the sink. Good workout? I asked. Brutal, she said, digging into the fridge. I'm starving. In full eyeliner? She didn't blink. You want to police my mascara now? I don't care what you wear, I told her. I care why my texts are getting lost in a dead zone between 4 and 7. Cell towers, she said, chewing. You know those can be spotty. Sure. On Saturdays. Every time. It's called a class, Mark, she said, shutting the fridge. Don't wait up. I might be late next week too. I nodded like that answer was fine. It wasn't. That was the last Saturday I waited up. By the following Saturday, I'd set a new rule for myself. I wouldn't sit in a house that ignored me. I rearranged my own schedule. If she wanted big, mysterious blocks of me time, I'd take mine in daylight with receipts. I printed a clean weekly calendar and stuck it on the fridge, pen clicking in my hand like a metronome. Here's how I'm running my weeks. I said at breakfast, flipping eggs. Saturdays I'll be at the shop noon to 6. Sundays I golf with Dave. Evenings I'm not holding dinner for anyone who says, don't wait up. Her fork paused. You trying to teach me something? I'm not a teacher, I replied, plating food. Just telling you my rules. It keeps resentment out of the house. So now we're doing rules, she said, pushing the eggs around. You're acting like a warden. Call it whatever helps you remember it. She snorted. Fine. Enjoy your little schedule. It's a big schedule, I said, and left it there. That afternoon, she started the usual routine. Noon exit. Same perfume. History gone from GPS when she got back. When she went to shower, I walked to the garage and looked at the odometer. 86 extra miles since Friday night. Our gym is 4 miles away. I took a photo of the dash. Not for a fight. For clarity. At the shop, Dave leaned on the counter, grease on his knuckles and a grin on his face that never made it to his eyes. He's worked with me 8 years. He can smell trouble like an oil leak. You look like a man who's done with something, he said. I'm done waiting, I answered. You going to raise it with her? Not yet. Then what? I'm going to verify reality, I said, wiping my hands. Dave nodded slowly. I got a guy for that. Friend of my cousin. He's quiet. I didn't ask for a name. Dave scribbled a number on an old invoice and slid it over like it burned. Back home, she was on the couch, scrolling. Her thumb didn't stop when I sat across from her. How was class? I asked. Good, she said, smiling at her phone. I might switch studios. Better vibe. Where is it? Across town. That explains the miles, I said without heat. You track my miles now. I track my car, I corrected. I share it with an adult. I assume she can handle that sentence without a meltdown. She laughed like I had just told a joke about myself. You're insecure lately. I'm observant, I said. There's a difference. She stood up. Don't make me your project, Mark. Not interested. Noted, I told her, voice flat. I have my own projects. She scoffed and left the room. I sent the number. Dave gave me a text with 2 words, need discretion. The reply came 20 minutes later from someone named Carson. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. coffee on Franklin. Use cash. I went to bed early, and I slept. That was my quiet consequence, and she didn't even notice it. On Sunday morning, she angled for her soft explanation at the sink while I rinsed my mug. I know I've been distant, she said. Work's a lot. Work that only happens on Saturdays, I said. Can you not turn everything into a cross-exam? I'm not cross-examining you, I told her, drawing the cup. I'm updating my map. You're being dramatic. No, I said. I'm being precise. She rolled her eyes and left it there. I didn't. I met Carson at 10. The coffee shop on Franklin is the kind of place where everyone pretends to write a screenplay. Carson didn't pretend anything. Late 40s, blue jacket, eyes that didn't linger. He sat without greeting and slid a blank notepad between us. Who, he said. My wife, I answered. Saturdays. Noon to late. Her phone goes quiet between 4 and 7. She wipes the GPS in her car. Odometer doesn't match the errands. Name, he said. I gave it. Vehicle. I gave that too. What do you want exactly, he asked. Pattern, I said. Times, places, who she's with. Pictures if it's obvious. You prepared for obvious? Yes. Cash is better, he said, scribbling a number. Half now. I counted out the bills from a bank envelope and slid them across. He didn't look at the amount until we were done talking. You got rules for me? He asked. One, I said. No cowboy moves. I want clarity, not drama. Drama is extra anyway, he said, and pocketed the money. I left the shop and drove to the parts supplier. On the way, my phone buzzed. Cassidy, one of her friends who thinks I need coaching, had texted about a barbecue next weekend. Couples. Her invite ended with a little wink, and don't be weird if she's late. She's doing that class thing. I typed back, we'll be there. And under my breath, oh, we will. Back home, I took the joint checking and walked it into 2 separate accounts. I didn't hide it. I left the paper where she would see it, with a sticky note, budget clarified. Groceries and bills get paid. No one floats the other's hobbies. If you need me on Saturdays, don't. I'm out. She spotted it before dinner. What's this? She asked, holding the slip like it was a snake. Separation of discretionary spending, I said, stirring a pot. Keeps things clean. You can't just do that. I already did. That is controlling, she fired. No, I said. It's boundaries. You like those for yourself. Now I like them too. She paced once around the island. I don't want this tension. Then stop making tension, I replied. She stared. Fine. I'll be home earlier next Saturday. Do what you want, I said, but don't say don't wait up and expect a plate. Are you threatening to stop cooking now? She said, smirking. No, I answered, turning the burner down. I'm promising to stop waiting. When Saturday came, she left at noon with the same line and the same perfume. 4 to 7, quiet. 10:58 p.m., blender of noise back in our driveway. She came in with a smile that didn't reach me. I picked up those pastries you like, she said, setting a box on the counter. She kissed my cheek. I know I've been gone. Thank you for being patient. There it was, the first soft turn. A little sugar dusted over a rotten routine. Thanks, I said, opening the box. Don't do it for me. Can we reset? She asked. We can reset the dinner schedule, I said. It doesn't involve me waiting. She nodded slowly. Okay, I hear you. She didn't. The next weekend, Cassidy's barbecue gave her a stage. The backyard was full of folding chairs, coolers, and the kind of laughter that comes easy when people think their lives are stable. Cassidy hugs too tight and talks too loud. Her husband, Mike, is decent, which is why I gave him my eyes while I put my plate together. He asked about the shop. I gave him real answers. Halfway through a burger, Cassidy raised her voice just enough. Where's our busy bee? She smirked toward my wife. Another self-care Saturday? My wife made a face of false guilt. Don't judge me. He knows I need space. Space from what? Cassidy giggled, looking around for allies. From this perfect man, Mark, you approving her little disappearances. I set my plate down, stood, and addressed the group like I would a team at work. I don't approve or disapprove, I said. I run my schedule. She runs hers. I don't wait for people who make themselves unavailable. I don't carry budgets that I don't control. And I don't do public jokes about private disrespect. That ends here. The patio went quiet except for a clinking on tile. Mike coughed into his cup. My wife shot me a smile that was supposed to be light. Babe, it's a joke. I'm not laughing, I told her level. You're free to go where you want. I'm free to set the terms of my involvement. Cassidy tried to cut the tension. Y'all are intense today. Not intense, I said. Just done with theater. My wife's eyes narrowed. Can we not do this here? We just did, I answered. It won't need a sequel. On the drive home, she stared out the window, then turned on me like she was reviewing a penalty. "You embarrassed me," she said. "No," I replied, eyes forward. "I stopped you from using me as a punchline. You made it weird in front of my friends." "Your friend made it weird," I said. "I set a boundary. If you want to do your Saturdays, do your Saturdays. But don't ask the room to clap." She folded her arms. I said, "I heard you." "Words are cheap," I said. That night she brought the second softness. Wine open, candles, a plate of that pasta I like. She touched my shoulder with the care people use when they're trying to unpress a button. "I'm sorry for the joke," she said. "I just miss us laughing." "We can laugh," I said, without me being the bit. "I can come home earlier," she said, sliding closer. "We can make Saturday nights our thing again." I nodded and let the warmth sit in the air for a second. I wanted to believe she was walking back. I also wanted to respect my own rules. So I took my plate, ate with her, and then went to the guest room to finish invoices. I left a lamp on in there and slept fine. Sunday morning, my phone buzzed while I washed the truck. A text from Carson, pattern confirmed. "Package Monday. Call me when you have it." I dried my hands and looked at the sky like it had something to tell me. Monday was about to be very specific. Monday, 3:17 p.m., the shop. Dave slid a new box of filters down the counter when a man in a blue jacket walked in and set a plain envelope with my name on it. His eyes skipped over everything like dignity does when it sees a mess. "Do I need to sign?" I asked. "No," Carson said. "Call if you got questions." He left. I wiped my hands on a rag because they were clean and I was buying time. Dave hovered at the edge of my vision, pretending to reorganize a pegboard. I took a breath and opened the envelope. There were timestamps and streets and printouts. And there were photos. My wife, at a bistro I've never heard her mention. Her head tilted toward a man in a charcoal jacket. For 22 p.m., smiling too wide. 5:09 p.m., the dead zone. 6:44 p.m., her hand on his shoulder. Then one where there's no interpretation required. Them in a corner of a parking garage, his hands on her waist, their mouths on each other. Her eyes closed like the world had been turned off for her convenience. I didn't throw the photos. I didn't tear anything. I stacked the pages, put them back in the envelope, and slid it into the drawer under the register. Dave watched me like a paramedic waiting to see if a person would stand up. "You good?" he murmured. "I'm clear," I replied. "There's a difference." "What's the move?" "The adult one," I said. I called Carson. "We're done," I told him. "You'll get the other half today." He gave me a sum. I paid it. Then I called Amelia. I've sent business to her firm for years when customers needed paperwork handled. She's efficient and not impressed by drama. "I need to end a marriage," I said. "Understood," she replied. "Any minors?" "No." "Assets?" "House, her car, my shop, normal accounts." "I already split discretionary stuff." "Good," she said. "Do you have documentation?" "I have a pattern." "That helps with resolve," she said. "Paperwork will be ready Wednesday for your signature. We can send notice after." "Don't send it," I said. "I'll leave it myself." "You're sure?" "I'm sure." "Then come in at 9 Wednesday," she said. "Bring your ID." I hung up, stacked receipts, and worked 2 more hours like nothing happened. That's not because I'm cold. It's because my line had arrived, and I finally had my feet under me. That night, at home, she tried small talk in the kitchen. "How was your day?" "Productive," I said, setting a bag of takeout on the counter. "I ate at the shop." "You didn't wait for dinner?" she asked. "You told me not to." She pursed her lips. "I was being flippant." "I took you literally," I said. She touched the bag. "Did you bring me something?" "No," I said. "Groceries are on the list." She blinked at the text. "You're being different." I adjusted, I said. The next day, I moved the title to her car cleanly into her name. I put a copy in a folder on the dining table with a sticky note. "It's yours. Maintain it." I also boxed the sentimental things that are mine, photos with my brother, my dad's watch, a stack of letters from old friends, and put them in the back of my truck. I didn't hide the box. I set it by the door in daylight. When she noticed, she asked, "What's that?" "Stuff that doesn't belong in a tug of war," I said. "What tug of war?" "The one you're running on Saturdays," I said, and didn't elaborate. She swallowed. "You're being petty." "I'm being exact," I answered. Wednesday at 9, I signed my part of the papers. Amelia gave me a manila envelope and a neutral look. "You want a courier?" she said anyway. I want to be the last person to fold this, I said, tapping the flap. When I got home, I set the envelope on my nightstand and cleaned the kitchen. I wiped the countertops, took the trash out, tightened the loose handle on the pantry, and put a fresh pillowcase on her side. It wasn't kindness and it wasn't sarcasm. It was the last maintenance I was doing here. That evening, a text from her. Don't wait up, I might be late. I smiled at the contradiction. I made myself dinner, ate at the patio table, and listened to the neighborhood. At 10:41 p.m., the garage door lifted. She came in with the tired glow she gets after performing a life. Shoes off at the mat, bag dropped, breath rehearsed. Hey, she said, walking past me like we'd see each other in the morning. In the bedroom, I replied calmly. She paused. What? In the bedroom, I repeated, standing. She followed me down the hall, flips-flops whispering on the hardwood. On her pillow sat the manila envelope with a pen on top. What's this? She asked. Resolution, I said. She looked at the envelope like it might bite. Her voice got small, then careful. Mark, what is this? Paperwork, I said. It's simple. It doesn't require a speech. She didn't reach for it. You're ending us? Just like that. Not just like that, I corrected. Like this. After weeks of the same Saturday, the same silence at 4 to 7, the same dead GPS history, the same miles that don't match the gym, the same perfume and makeup that are for someone else. After public jokes about my patience. After 2 sweet performances when I set a boundary. After I did the adult thing and checked the facts. You hired someone? She shot back. I hired reality, I said. You're paranoid, she tried, voice rising. No, I said, steady as a sidewalk. I'm finished pretending I don't see numbers. She lifted her chin. You're violating my privacy. I raised an eyebrow. Your privacy doesn't include turning me into a placeholder while you recreate your 20s on Saturdays. That's not what this is. That's exactly what it is, I replied, tone flat. And I don't chase. I close. She stared, and then she pivoted to the second playbook, tears balanced at the edge without falling. We can fix this. We could fix disrespect, I said, if it had been a one-time misstep. This is a system. You built it. It runs on silence. I need space, she said, softer. I told you that. You can have all the space you want, I said, nodding at the envelope. We're making it official. She stepped closer. I don't want to lose the house. I don't want to lose what we have. You lost my respect first, I said. The house is drywall. I can stop the Saturdays, she whispered. You had that option a month ago, I said. You chose not to. She looked furious for a second, then she regrouped, smoothing her hair like she could press control back into it. So that's it, she said. You're going to blow up our life? I'm not blowing anything up, I said. I'm doing what people do when terms are violated. I'm changing the agreement. You keep your car. You keep what you bought. I'll take what I built. We'll sell the house if that's clean, or you can buy me out. I don't care. What I won't be is the guy who cooks while his wife rehearses being single on weekends. That's ugly, she breathed. It's accurate, I corrected. She put her hand on the envelope. Tell me you're not serious. I'm not performing, I answered. She opened the flap with a jerk, scanned the top page. Her mouth tightened when she hit her name. You signed, she said, like it was a betrayal. I sign what I mean, I said. She slammed the pen down. I'm not signing this tonight. You don't have to, I said. It'll be there in the morning. And the morning after. What if I don't sign at all? Then the process runs without your signature, I said. I didn't build this around your cooperation. She stared at me and saw, maybe for the first time, that she couldn't maneuver me back into the slot where she wanted me. She tried to switch to kindness like a last-minute costume change. Stay, she said gently. We'll figure it out. I can drop the class. I can cut off people. There it is, I said. There what is? The wiggle. It's not real, I said. It only lives until you think I've put the leash back on myself. Then you'll be late again, and I'll be the fool again. She folded her arms. You're being dramatic again. I'm being finished, I said. She went quiet, then lunged for a different angle. Did you tell anyone? Did you talk about me to your friends? I put a stop to the public jokes, I said. That's what I did. And now you want to humiliate me. I want to be done, I said simply. She snatched the envelope and hugged it to her chest like you'd hold a file that could ruin you at work. I'm not signing. Good night, I said and walked out. I slept in the guest room. In the morning, I took the day off from the shop. I loaded my things, my clothes, tools, the few books I actually read, into the truck. I left the big furniture. I left the dishes. I left the television. I took the coffee machine because she never used it. At 9, I called the utilities and split the accounts. At noon, I texted her a simple list. Your car title is on the table. The utilities are in your name starting next month. The mortgage options are on the second page of the packet. I'll be by Friday to pick up anything I missed. Don't wait up. I won't be late. She fired back 3 messages in quick succession: accusations, bargains, anger. I didn't answer. That wasn't punishment, it was policy. I drove to a small furnished rental on the other side of town, dropped my bag on a clean couch, and opened a window. Then I went to the shop and stood in the quiet before the next customer came in. Dave looked up from a carburetor. You did it, he said, like it was both a statement and a question. I did what needed doing, I replied. Anything I can help with, he asked. You already did, I said. You gave me a number. That Friday night, I went back to the old house with a spare set of keys. She was home when I pulled up, unusual for a Friday. The living room lights were on like a house in a catalog. She opened the door before I knocked. You can't just leave and take over the process, she snapped. I didn't take over anything, I said. I declined to be a prop. I talked to Cassidy, she said, like that was a legal filing. She thinks you're overreacting. Cassidy should worry about her own jokes, I said. You're making me look bad, she said. You did that, I replied, walking past her toward the hall. She followed me to the bedroom and pointed at the envelope on the dresser. I'm not signing. Okay, I said. Then it'll happen another way. Stop acting like you're superior, she hissed. I'm acting like a man who won't be disrespected on a schedule, I said, picking up the last box I needed. There's a difference. You're throwing away years, she said. I'm throwing away a pattern, I corrected. Years aren't sacred if they're full of contempt. She swallowed hard. I could fix it if you just talk to me. We're talking, I said. You're just not getting your old leverage. She stared at me, then stepped in front of the door like a gate. If you walk out now, she said, slow and serious, don't expect me to ever call you again. That's the point, I said, and stepped around her. At the threshold, I turned back once. By the way, I added, nodding toward the dresser, I left something else in that envelope. You should see it before you decide how to tell this story to your friends. She frowned, opened the flap, and pulled out the single photo on top. The garage corner, the timestamp, the fact you can't spin. Her fingers stilled. Where did you get this? She whispered. I stopped believing in cell tower problems, I said. I believe my eyes. You weren't supposed to see this, she said. And there it was. The truth she would have kept if I'd chosen denial as a lifestyle. I wasn't supposed to ignore it, I answered. I put my keys on the console table, set the garage remote beside them, and closed the door behind me. That was the last thing I did in that house. In the truck, I didn't feel free. I felt like a man who had paid a bill and finally owned a quiet mind. The next months were straightforward. The process moved because paperwork moves when one person keeps it moving. She signed 2 weeks later, after her solo meetings with strategy-minded friends didn't produce a loophole. I wasn't cruel. I didn't plaster anything. I never used names in conversations, only the word pattern. People fill in the detail they want anyway. At the shop, business picked up because it always does in the summer. I bought a used pickup that ran like it had something to prove. I lost 15 pounds because I wasn't eating stress for dinner. Dave and I took a weekend trip to the lake, and for once, my phone didn't sit like a bomb in my pocket. 8 weeks later, I met Hannah at a hardware store. Smart, grounded, the kind of woman who asks what you mean and then listens. We went slow because that's the only gear that matters after you've watched a person turn love into an excuse to do whatever they want. She doesn't vanish on Saturdays. She also doesn't run her life like a test I'm supposed to pass. I bought a small house with a decent garage and a shaded porch. There's a grill out back and 2 good chairs. My brother visits on Sundays. We watch the game and talk about cars like teenage mechanics and middle-aged men do when they're not pretending to be complicated. Every now and then, I hear about my ex through the grapevine you can't uproot in a small city. She's renting a place closer to the highway. The house sold. She didn't like the numbers. The Saturdays didn't fill her up the way she thought they would. That's not my news to celebrate. It's just the math. She texted me once 2 months after the ink was dry. It was a photo of a coffee she knew I used to like and a line that said, "Hope you're well." I didn't answer. Not because I was angry, because I was done. Some nights I sit on my porch after closing the shop, and the air has that quiet suburban hum people call peace when they don't have to convince themselves. Henna shows up with takeout in a brown bag and no performance in her smile. "You good?" she asks. "I'm good," I say, meaning it. When I went back to get the last piece of mail at the old place, our neighbor, Mrs. Alvarez, waved from her garden like always. "You look lighter," she said, handing me a stray letter that had found its way into her box. "New shocks," I told her, tapping my chest. "Keep them," she said. "I do." The final line I gave my ex, the one I left her with in that bedroom, wasn't a threat. It was a policy. I don't chase.